Hello and welcome to Rise and Shine. If you are wanting to figure out how to receive God's living love that is outpouring intimately to you and allow yourself to receive it so deeply that you really do shine with it throughout the day, and it helps you to rise up in your power and your courage so that you can walk your divine purpose and face into the challenges that you are facing uh, with God's living love and resilience so that you can be a reconciler in this world, then you are in the right place. You are in the right place. This practice offers many, many, many gifts, too much to even say in the introduction. And the way that you can tap into those is to actually just to sit down and give it a chance and watch where God will lead you. For best practices for this class, there's a few things that you can grab that will make a huge difference and let you really get the most out of it. Number one, if this is your first time joining us, if you take a moment and pause and you look into the description box below in the video, if you're watching this on YouTube, and if you hit more right underneath the box, it'll drop down with some more content information. Click on the little link in there. That's the PDF that goes along with this practice, and it looks just like this. And this is going to walk you through your regions of your embodied experience. It also walks you through the process of how do we actually recognize where God is. God is actually alive and tangible. How do we recognize God's living presence and receive God's living support for us? There's a message in God's living support every single day that is intimate to you. And it is actually the fuel that lets you, number one, walk your divine path, because you really cannot walk that path without receiving God's living fuel, because God's living fuel is what the key that opens the door on the path that you're on. And it also allows you to walk in peace or with your intensity held. So it's not necessarily that you're going to be relaxed as you do it, because usually your divine path is going to be inviting you to set different boundaries and to be outpouring in ways that are not your idea. Um, and when you do that, God's going to give you a power to do that. In this class, we learn how to receive that power first. And when we are held in that power and reorganized by that power, then we're invited to notice one challenge every day that we want to bring into the heart of God and participate in reconciling with God so that we can participate to establish heaven on earth, just like we are asking for. These are the actual relational, practical steps of how to actually do that. Once we get through recognizing our challenge, noticing where it's in our body, bringing God's living love into that, then at the end of the class, we're really asking God, show me the direct steps of how do you want me to face into this challenge with your love, grace, and peace, and whatever other gifts God has given you today. And then you'll get very clear action steps on how to do that. Now, I have two other practices that I've been invited to teach. The second one is a napping practice where you learn how to pause in the middle of your day, wherever that midpoint is for you. It might be where you transition out of activity back into your personal life, and out of work back into your personal life. And it shows you how to nap and receive God's living love and be recalibrated so that the second half of your day can run smoothly. And then there's a third practice where you actually you're checking in to say, okay, God gave me these directions this morning. How did I do with that? What happened for me? What are the things that went well? Where did I grow? And then where are the things that are still in process? So we can be beginning our day and ending our day with God and punctuating our day with God, and really be strength training, receiving this living love everywhere, all the time, to the best of our capacity. So I know that's a lot said, but that just kind of breaks down the three classes really quickly. And for this class, you need two different color pens. You need to have a comfortable place where you can sit uninterrupted, and you're going to need a couple pillows and your journal page or a journal. And I'm going to walk you through the rest. I'm going to give you a few moments to go ahead and get yourself situated, and then we can begin our time together. So we begin our time together in the same way that Jesus invites us to begin all of our moments of conscious awareness, and that is to first pause and take a moment to recognize how you are connected to and supported by the place where you are seated. Let's go ahead and take a moment to notice how our bodies are held. by our seats. Let's go ahead and notice that together now. And as you are noticing how your body is held by the place where you are seated, Jesus invites us to take a moment to recognize which part of your body feels the most supported by your seat. You want to write down that body part into your journal. And you're letting your brain refresh that awareness. You're letting your brain go back and say, here is where I am already supported, right where I am seated. Letting my brain see it, and I'm going to give my body one more minute to receive the experience or absorb the experience of being supported. Let's go ahead and notice that together. And then from that place of recognizing that you are supported, we're invited to go a little deeper into the relationship of that and notice, what is the quality of support that you feel? What does it feel like? What does it feel like? Does it feel like a sense of softness or tenderness or stability or safety? Take a moment and notice what the support feels like. Hear the word that is specific to you. Let's notice that together this morning. And you want to write down that quality of support into your journal. And then we're going to take your second pen color. I usually start with black, and then my second pen color is red. You can do whatever you want to do, but you want to circle that quality of support. And we're helping the brain to refresh that awareness of that. I'm circling that with the second pen color because the second pen color is the color I'm using to articulate the insights I'm getting from God, the different shifts in my experience. That's what I'm using the pen color. And I use red because God's always outpouring love. So I'm starting with my humanity, my solidness, and then God's bringing love into that, infusing life and love into that. Sorry to be talking so much this morning. Okay, so you're circling that quality of support, and we're going to let the brain see it. This is God's living support outpouring to me. I'm going inward and letting myself experience that, and I'm letting my body have another minute to absorb it. And we're saying this aliveness belongs to me. This is God's living gift to me. Take another minute to receive that. And then from that place, we want to take a moment we're invited to take a moment to notice what is the main challenge that you are facing into today. What is most alive in your mind or your heart or maybe in your life experience? Take a moment and you're going to write that down into your journal in a short blurb. And as you are taking a moment to really become aware of the challenge that is alive for you today, um, you're going to recognize that we're going to be bringing that challenge in relationship with God's living love, and we are going to be practicing the experience of intertwining the two, not pushing one out. I'm not pushing the challenge away, shining God's light so bright that I disappear. Like, that's not the invitation. The invitation is letting God's living love fortify you and embrace the challenge so that you can be in intimate relationship with the challenge from the power of the mysterious love that God's outpouring, and watch how you become reorganized, you become remade, and so does the challenge. Okay, so right now we're going to go through the cringiest part of class, which is noticing, how am I relating to this challenge with my own humanity before God, separate from God? How am I engaging with this challenge? This is really important to let yourself be very vulnerable here and not be trying to make yourself perfect, because that's not what God's asking us for. God's asking us for an intimate relationship where we show up naked, and that's something that we actually have to strength train. So in the beginning, we're looking at, how does my mind see myself in this challenge? What is the imagery that you see? And what are the thoughts you hear your mind thinking as you are facing into the challenge? Sometimes it's helpful to reread it so that you can notice, what does my mind say or think here? Let's go ahead and recognize that together and then write it into our journal. And how do I normally speak about this challenge that is present here today? Oh no. And And how do you normally behave in the face of this challenge? Are you finding yourself trying to wrangle it into submission, or are you trying to move and do everything but deal with this challenge, moving into coping mechanisms? Are you finding yourself maybe a little paralyzed or frozen? Or are you beginning your journey with God and listening and trying to follow, but find yourself kind of popping out of that? Notice what is alive for you. And what are the emotions that come alive as you are facing into this challenge? And what are the sensations that come along with that? Does it feel stingy or cold or anxious? Take a moment and notice what comes alive for you as you are facing into this challenge today. And you can take your little diagram and you can draw on the diagram where you feel that happening. And my breathing responds to this challenge like, take a moment and notice, how do you breathe when you face into this? And then you want to take a moment to notice, what has this been like in the past as you have faced into a similar challenge like this, or maybe this continual thing keeps coming up for you? How does that play out, and what happens for you? What's the outcome? Mm-mm. You're good. Gosh. And what does this challenge being present here today make you think is going to happen in the future? Because this is here today, how does it make you think the future is going to unfold? So this is the embodied experience. This is how your system is responding to this circumstance as you are moving into relationship with it. And now we're going to be bringing ourselves into the intertwinement of God's living love. So we're going to be going through each of these regions of the emotional sensory core, and we're going to do about a 2-minute hold on each region, and you're going to be just offering love, and you're going to watch as a mystery begins to unfold within yourself. Okay, so get yourself comfortable. We're going to refresh our awareness of what it is that God is providing you right through the place where you are seated. Go ahead and bring your awareness back to that initial experience. And then we're going to notice the challenge that we are being invited to face. Notice how that comes alive within our system. And then we want to hold our mind, hold our brain, and see if you can, when you're reading back how your mind sees it, see if you can feel the subtle aliveness that occurs in your brain and if you can actually meet that specifically. So if it's the front of my mind feels like there's activity, then I'm holding the front or the sides or the back. Notice where the aliveness is and see if you can meet that aliveness fully. Let's go ahead and hold our minds together, hold our brains together. And you want to soften your hands, soften your joints of your hands to really allow for the space of God's living support to flow through. And then you want to write down any insights that are revealed in and through and to you. We want to hold our throat, and you're really holding how you've spoken about this challenge. And you want to hold how you behave in the face of this challenge. You're holding your collarbones. You can make a note of that, to what comes up. And then noticing the emotions that come up and where you feel those, you're letting those be held also in God's living love. And then really holding your lungs and your heart and how you breathe as you are facing into this challenge. And then you want to notice how has it been in the past as you have faced into this challenge. And then really holding what you imagine is going to unfold in your future because this is present. And then now that we have named what is alive for us and really been able to hold each area in this living love, in this mystery of living love, we're turning ourselves to God and we're saying, show me how to navigate this challenge through your love, through your grace, and your peace. Take a moment and turn yourself to God's living heart and ask that question now and listen to where you are being led. And you're going to take notes on where you are being led this morning. And from there, we transfer that over to our index card so we can take that with us into our day or into a sheet of paper that you take with you into your day. And this just helps you to remember um, what it is that God is inviting you to be mindful of today. And then from there, we take a moment to really look at what did I start with this morning? And what is it that God gave me so that I can navigate this path into this challenge? Take a moment and notice what you began with. And then where you are. And then we take our take our time as we move into our day. I wish you guys a wonderful morning and a wonderful day as you walk with the mystery of Christ in your own way and in your own spaces. I give great thanks to my living Jesus Christ, who leads me on this very narrow path, and yet this path takes me home to God's living heart and purpose for my life. Thank you, God. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Take care, guys. I look forward to seeing you when it suits your schedule next.